So you just got a flat tire in your Tesla Model 3, and even worse, it is a complete blowout, which means you can't repair the tire with a patch kit like this or use an air compressor with tire sealant, otherwise known as Fix-A-Flat or slime. So of course, as we all know, Teslas don't come with spare tires, so your only other option is to use Tesla roadside service. But here's the problem. You're on a back road in the middle of nowhere, and you don't have any cell phone service at all. So now what? Well, I'm Frugal Tesla Guy, and I've got the perfect solution to this problem. Not too long ago, I had a big bolt in my tire that let out all of the air, and I was able to put the air back into the tire, and the leak was just slow enough for us to get back home. I did call Tesla roadside service, and they could have had a replacement tire for me within an hour or two. But there's a reason I didn't go that route. Now, I shared my experience in a previous video, and will be sure to post a link to that in the description below. Now, ideally, in that situation, it would have been safer and more convenient if I had a spare tire. But as many enthusiasts and owners know, there's no spare tire in a Tesla. That's where this comes in. The only spare tire that was designed from the ground up for the Tesla Model 3 from a company called Modern Spare. Now, this is not your average spare tire. Unlike the cheap donut spare tires that many of us are familiar with, it was designed with quality and safety in mind. Let's start with the 18-inch rim. It's a light and durable aluminum alloy wheel that's 35% lighter than its steel counterpart. The diameter is wide enough for, that's right, all versions of the Tesla Model 3. This includes the 18-inch Aero wheels, the 19-inch Sport, and even the 20-inch Performance wheels with room for the Performance brake calipers. The rubber is a high-quality Pirelli tire that's not disposable like most donut spares. The rolling diameter is 26.5 inches. To make it easy to understand, this basically matches the diameter of all Tesla Model 3s, once again matching the 18, 19, and 20-inch wheels. The combination of the high-quality Pirelli tire and having the same diameter allows you to travel at speeds as fast as 81 miles per hour if needed, along with driving distances of 100 miles or even more, again, also as needed. Now, it's important to note the tire is thinner than the original tires, and you should drive with safety in mind and use your best judgment. So let's take a look at what comes with the complete kit. Now, everything fits nicely in this padded and well-made carrying case with a convenient handle and adjustable shoulder strap. Inside, you will of course find the tire, along with a 2-ton rated TrueLift ratcheting scissor jack with a rubber contact point that can be used without the puck. It also comes with a telescoping lug wrench that starts at 14 inches for easy storage and can be extended to 21 inches for the leverage you need. You'll also get 2 double-sided sockets at 17, 19, 21, and 22 millimeters. 5 lug nuts are also included. All of these can be stored conveniently in the included storage bag. Modern Spare Tire even includes working gloves to help keep your hands clean and a plastic bag to put your flat tire in to keep the interior of the trunk clean. And if you order a Modern Spare Tire through me, which we'll go over a little bit later, you'll also get a roadside safety kit with orange reflector triangles and a bright yellow vest. So now that we know what comes with the kit, let's check out to see how it works in the wild. All right, before we get started, I just want to warn you that it is forecast to be 100 degrees today. It's already in the mid-80s and it's just past 10 o'clock in the morning. So you'll have to excuse the perspiration and it may get pretty bad at times. So we'll just see how bad it gets. All right, so we have talked about the tire and everything that comes with it in a kit like this. So let's go ahead and open it up and go from there. Okay, so one thing I really like about this kit is it comes with this carrying case, and it's padded. So it really is great when you're out there, especially on the concrete or the asphalt, to kind of protect your knees. So I'm leaning on that right now. So the first thing we need to do, obviously, is loosen the lug nuts on the flat tire. Of course, I don't have a flat tire, but we're doing this for demonstration purposes. So with me, I've got the 19-inch wheels, and that means I'm gonna have to take off this little hubcap right here. Now, your car should have come with this tool right here. It's actually quite simple. Right underneath the T logo, the Tesla logo, you take this and you put it right in there. And then from there, you just go ahead and pull it out, and boom, it's off. So as I mentioned, everything is conveniently packaged within this bag here. So we've got another smaller bag, a couple of things in here. This we'll be using with the jack later, so we'll get to that in a second. This right here is the wrench, it's the handle, and it's telescoping. So for easy use and of course packaging, and for convenience and size, it starts off small, you pull it out and it gets larger, so very nice. Then of course we've got the lug nuts in here, which I'm probably not going to use. I'll probably be able to use these, but you've got the 4 different sizes, two on each side, or 1 on each side, right? So we need the 21 millimeters. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the other one back in there. And just pretty basic, right? You've got a hole, a square hole there, and you've got a square peg right here, just like you did when you were a toddler. Square peg into the square hole. Got 21 millimeters right here, actually on this side. And let's go ahead and loosen these lug nuts. All right, let's get to the jack now. This is a nice scissor jack. It's solid, it's sturdy, so this will be good. And you've got this tool here. It's a ratcheting tool, which depending on the setting, will either put the car up or down. So of course, we'll be sure to adjust that accordingly. And usually when you're talking about jacking up a car, you probably see this a lot, is using a puck. So as you know, there are 4 jack points for the car. And there are 4 holes that show you where those points are. Now people use these pucks, you can get them anywhere, you can even make them like I did, and you put this peg right into that hole. And now you can take your jack and you can line it up with the puck and you're good to go. But here's the problem. Even though this is a low profile jack, this is a low profile car. So see what happens is, when I put this underneath, there's barely any clearance between the jack and the puck. Now I want you to imagine this thing completely flat. That's gonna lower the car a few inches. So you're not gonna be able to use that puck. So we're gonna have to take the puck out and then we'll kind of go from there. Okay, so I took out the puck. Now we're ready to jack up the car. But before we do that, I just want to mention that this jack, at least this part, was put on here specifically for the Tesla Model 3 because even we're not going to be able to use the puck. But you want to make sure that the long side, or the long side of the rectangle, runs along the width, or the length that is, of the car. And you line up, there's a hole right here, you just line that up with the hole on the car. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so there's the hole, and here's the jack. Just gonna line that up right there, nice and center. And it looks like it's nice and lined up with that hole. We'll go ahead and make sure they're only touching the metal part. In fact, I may want to push it just a little bit more this way. And now we're only contacting the metal. So you need to make sure you're only contacting the metal, and then from here, we can jack the car all the way up. So we're all lined up now, and now it's time to jack up the car. We use this tool. I mentioned earlier that it's ratcheting. So what that's going to do is this, the way it is now, it's going to actually lower the jack. So there's a notch right here. Just click that, and now we're ready to jack the car up. So let's go ahead and do that. So far, so good. Pretty easy. Good. I mean, decent leverage on this, so it's not that hard. All right, so it looks like we've got, plenty of room there. So now let's loosen these all the way, the lug nuts, and get the tire off the car. All right, so now I got all the lug nuts off. Let's kind of push them over to the side here. We'll be using those a little bit later. And now we're ready to take the full tire off. All right, so here you have the spare right here. And one of the ways, in fact, the easiest way to line it up is, since we're using the 21mm socket, it only fits into the holes that will fit at 21mm, right? So you can see right here, here's a 21mm. It fits in that hole just fine. But the one next to it, it doesn't fit in there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna line up with the holes that this socket fits into. So let's get to it. One more thing I wanted to mention before we put the spare on, and that is, you may have heard of this before, is there's a tiny little bolt or a nut here that is on the rotor. Now, you may have heard that other wheels won't fit on here. So before I take this off, which it's okay to take it off and leave it off permanently, but before I do that, I'm just going to go ahead and see if this will fit on here without taking it off. And simple enough. So yeah, it fits on there, and I can't turn the wheel because the brakes are on, obviously, but I don't see any kind of gaps. I can't feel any gaps because of that nut or that bolt I was talking about. So looks like we're in good shape and we don't need to remove it. Modern Spare does provide lug nuts, which I've got in this bag, but these fit in there, it's not a problem. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the originals. We'll go ahead and put these in. We'll go from there. All right, so the ratchet last set was to raise the car. Now we're going to flip that switch there, and that will allow us to lower it. Okay, so we've lowered it fully. Now it's time to tighten those lug nuts. We'll go ahead and extend this for the leverage that we need, and you're gonna go ahead and tighten these. So not so bad. Now that we got this spare tire on, let's go ahead and see how it performs on the road. Oh, could it be any hotter out there? Well, it's 86 in the direct sunlight, so it definitely doesn't help. All right, so let's go ahead and put it in drive and see how she drives. Well, first thought is I can't notice anything different. I'm only going about 15, 16 miles per hour, but once we get on the highway, we'll obviously get a much better feel for how this thing handles. But as of right now, I mean, I really can't notice anything all that different. It'll also be interesting to see if the TPMS sensor, since it doesn't have a TPMS sensor, if the computer will notice that there's nothing to sense. So we'll see if that trips anything. But as of right now, it's not tripping any low tire or anything like that. In fact, let's take a look at, yeah, it's just showing that the rear right tire doesn't have any PSI going to it at all. So let's get this on the highway and see how it does. Also, forgive the hair, it's still quarantine time and I haven't been able to get my hair cut for months. So I'm sweaty, my hair's a mess, but again, we're in real world conditions here. So I've been driving a solid 10 minutes with the spare tire on the rear of the car, so it's on the drivetrain. And it feels great. I mean, I'm going with the flow of the traffic. I've been going about 70 miles per hour without any problems whatsoever. I'm in autopilot, changing lanes with autopilot, and it's working great. So what I'm going to do at this point is I am going to stop at the supercharger, which is about 8 miles away from here, and I'm going to swap out the rear for the front. So it's on the drivetrain now, and since I have a rear wheel drive, we'll see how it feels off the drivetrain and see if it feels any different on the front of the car. I mean, heck, it's only 95 degrees outside and I'll be on the pavement. What could it hurt? finally got a warning sign from Tesla saying that the tire pressure monitoring system fault. Sensor is unable to measure tire pressure. So that finally happened. And I've also got this up here on the screen, just kind of giving you an indication that there is a notification. And of course, it's the same thing. So that's to be expected, and obviously nothing to worry about because I know that I have a spare tire on and it's not able to monitor the tire pressure because there is not a TPMS sensor on the spare tire. Whew, man, it is hot out there. I think I got something over here. Yeah, I don't know. Look at the hands too. Use those gloves. They give you gloves so you keep your hands clean. So definitely getting dirty hands from this. You don't realize how much grime there is on those tires. But right there, just a little under 10 minutes to get this job done. So obviously I have experience doing this, but you get the idea. I'd say on average, it's going to take you about 15 minutes to change the tire, and you're going to be on your way. So awesome. So I've got about 30 miles to get home. I'm going to drive with the spare tire on the front right part of the car, and we'll see if I notice any difference in performance. So it's been about 10 minutes on the highway here, and I took it out of autopilot because I wanted to feel if there's any give or take in the wheel here. So what I'm going to do is it's going to kind of get a feel for if there is any leaning or turning to the left or right because of the smaller tire, or at least smaller width of a tire. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm on a nice straight line here, and I've got my hands off the wheel, and I got to tell you, I mean, the alignment's great. I mean, it's not leaning to the left or to the right, so even with that thinner tire on there, it still feels pretty good. So just like that of the rear tire, I just don't notice any difference in the overall performance of the car. So again, it's probably going to be a lot different if you're taking sharp turns and trying to take them at high speeds, but you're not going to do that with a spare tire on. So when you're traveling on the highway, man, this thing really does serve its purpose. Okay, great. It's a good quality spare that will hold you over until you can get a new tire. But where do you put it? It's a simple answer, but probably not what most people want to hear. It doesn't fit in the frunk or the sub-trunk, so the only option is the trunk. But the folks over at Modern Spare worked hard to design a quality spare tire while also making the smallest footprint as possible in the trunk. To put things in perspective, the spare tire is about half the size of the full-size tire. Measuring from the top of the trunk to the tire kit leaves you with 10.5 inches from the crossbar and 13 inches from the main ceiling. That's more than enough room for a medium-sized suitcase. Now you still have 10 inches from the tire to the sidewall in the trunk, which will allow you to slide a large suitcase in between the two. Another 10.5 inches from the opening to the tire leaves enough space for another suitcase with room to spare. We also can't forget about the sub-trunk that has room for another suitcase and then some. Oh yeah, and then there's the frunk. Essentially, the spare tire kit takes up about as much space as a suitcase, leaving enough room for a family of 4 to comfortably fit their things in the trunk and the frunk. On a side note, here's what the full-size tire looks like in the back. It clearly has a bigger footprint. Now compared to the Modern Spare tire, you lose 2.5 inches from the center beam and 3 inches from the main ceiling. This makes all of the difference in the world because that 2.5 inches will prevent most suitcases from fitting on top. Perfect, but where do I put the flat tire if the trunk and frunk are packed and there are 4 people in the car? Well, if you can't fit the full-size flat tire with all of your things inside, the only solution I have is to fold down the smaller side of the back seats to give you the room you need. and the two people in the back are a little more cozy until you can get to a tire repair shop. So let's talk price. $279.95 will get you the wheel and tire only. Now this is a great option if you already have everything else you need to change out a flat tire. $329.95 will get you a complete kit without the carrying case. $369.95 will get you the complete kit along with the convenient carrying case. Before you go to Amazon to order a kit, keep in mind it's $20 more than if you order it directly from the Modern Spare Tire website. And if you click on my personal affiliate link provided in the description below before July 3rd, 2020, Modern Spare will give you a roadside safety kit free of charge. So here's how it works. Once again, you need to make sure that you click on my affiliate link provided in the description below. It'll take you to the Modern Spare website. From there, you select the make of your car, the model, and of course, the year of your car as well. Then hit search. Now from here, it'll take you to another page and it'll give you two different options. You want to click the one on the left side because your purchase needs to be $279.95 or higher. So then of course you scroll down and you click one of the three options: the tire only, the complete kit without the carrying case, or the complete kit with the carrying case. You then add that selection to your cart. Now once you get to the next page, you will see that if you scroll down, you can add the roadside safety kit as an option to your cart. Go ahead and add that to your cart. It'll take you to the next page and you can apply a coupon code. And of course, surprise, surprise, you type in the coupon code FRUGAL and you apply that code, and what will happen is it will show, once you scroll down, that the price of the roadside safety kit has been removed. So here's what I like about it. I like the fact that knowing it's in the car, I have peace of mind I had before I entered the EV world. I like that for the most part, the tire doesn't impact the performance, and after driving over 60 miles with it on the car, I would have felt perfectly comfortable driving it 60 more miles or even more. I like that unlike a cheap donut spare, it has the same diameter as the full-size tire, helping to eliminate any damage to the drivetrain. Now I could go on and on and on about the carrying case, the convenience, the size. The list just keeps getting larger as far as how much I really like this spare tire. That being said, here's what I don't like about it. I don't like that it takes up space in the trunk. But that's on Tesla, not Modern Spare. It would have been nice if, at the very least, Tesla could have designed a space anywhere to store a spare tire. And as a consumer, you could buy your own spare tire and store it in that space or use that space for something else. Bottom line, whether you purchase the spare tire only or buy the entire kit, Modern Spare has solved the problem many car owners have. And it's not just Tesla owners. Many other cars have this problem, and Modern Spare makes tires for a lot of those cars. Now, in most cases, including the Tesla Model 3, valuable space is being compromised, but an expense I know I personally don't mind, especially on long road trips. As usual, I would love to hear what you think. Is this the solution you've been looking for, or are you happy with your current setup? Let me know in the comments section below. Well, thank you all so much for watching, and you know the drill. Like, subscribe, and stay positively charged. Makeup, hair, anybody? I guess I'm on my own. Usually I've got a hair team, someone who does my hair for me for my videos, and not to mention my makeup. But I'm on my own today. Oh well, not a good day for it either.